Good afternoon and welcome live to the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel. We are at the Dr. Allen W. Sugarman Athletic Complex. It's time for Fort Lee Bridgemen baseball as Fort Lee takes the field, trying to continue their strong play in the Big North American Division. They're 5-1 overall. They take on the 5-2 Ridgefield Park team. Ridgefield Park quality side will be the third baseman, Jason Alvarado. Ryan Lewis is at shortstop hitting number 2. Justin Maldonado is in center field hitting third. Andrew Garcia will make the start and back cleanup. Tremendous player, first team All Big North American honors, batting number 9. And defensive Senator batting number 9. And defensive Senator does the catching and the outfield. Gabe Lasfall in left. CJ Senator in center. Nico Sango is in right. 77 degrees and gorgeous for the first pitch this afternoon as Jacob Greenberg misses high, and we're underway. And folks, in case you experience some poor Wi-Fi, we're having some poor Wi-Fi issues, so you just want to reset your connection or refresh your browser in case we do experience that. And we'll do the best we can to get through this one as Greenberg misses inside. As Jason Alvarado swings through a changeup, and it's 2 balls and a strike. Alvarado off to a .542 start, 13 for 24 with power, a home run, 9 stolen bases. A real catalyst as this ball was a little chopper to third, picking it up and throwing him out. Fort Lee will pick up the immediate out, and a tough out to record with Alvarado running really well as the out recorded with the third baseman Jack Dorcom able to handle the big hop. Here's Ryan Lewis to step on. This is a team that basically got their feet wet last year with 5 sophomores and 2 freshmen starting or playing very regularly for 13th year head coach Scott Pipetti. And a team that has a lot of travel ball players too. Lewis is one of them, junior. That was first team All Big North All-American Division, Big North American Division. Third year in the varsity, he was a freshman starting shortstop. Been the number 2 hitter his entire time. Played mainly first base last year. Shortstop this year. As Greenberg misses a touch high. 1 ball and 1 strike. Just getting going, the 2 teams will meet on Wednesday at Ridgefield Park as Greenberg gets him to swing and miss at his changeup away. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Working quickly, and Lewis does not extend the strike zone. Ridgefield Park in at 5-2. Loss in their opener to Westwood as a common opponent. This is a ground ball back through the middle and a base hit for Ryan Lewis. Back through the box. And this is a Ridgefield Park team. When you look at their stats too, very capable of stealing a lot of bases. Lewis is aboard for Justin Maldonado. Sophomore center fielder. There was honorable mention All Big North American Division last year as a freshman starter in center. As Greenberg steps off to see if Lewis will give anything away. And the first pitch to Maldonado fouled off at the plate. Maldonado in at .478 on the year. Can also catch too in an emergency. And now a soft toss from Jacob. Greenberg enters in with an ERA of 2.62 over his 8 innings so far pitched. He's given up just 3 runs, 12 hits, struck out 15 over that time. And the fastball is a called strike 3. I think Maldonado was expecting something entirely different. He's caught looking and frozen, 1 away. So with the bunt not in play with 1 on, 1 out, it'll bring up his adversary and the pitcher, Andrew Garcia. Just 182 at the plate, but just a sophomore, was first team All Big North Division last year. Both teams finishing 1 and 2 in the Big North American Division last year were loaded with honors. As another check on Ryan Lewis, who retreats back. We'll see Andrew Garcia coming up at the bottom of the inning. Is a travel baseball player with a local organization called the Blue Jays, as he takes ball 1 up and in. And for Scott Papetti, he was thrilled that last year's team even qualified for the Bergen County Tournament first round in what was supposed to be a rebuild. There goes the runner, and Ryan Lewis will steal second without a throw. Well, he got a great jump, and that pretty much made it very difficult to throw him out. And it's a 2-ball count at the plate. Luke Senator tried to come up with it cleanly, could not in the transfer. And Greenberg to the plate, and that's ball 3 to Garcia. Make that 2 balls and a strike. And a swing and a miss at the pitch. Low and away, strike 3. So make that the 1-2 pitch, and Garcia is out of there. Pair of strikeouts for Jacob Greenberg to get things started, stranding a runner on at second base, with Fort Lee coming up against Ridgefield Park. And back at Fort Lee, we'd like to thank all of our sponsors for helping bring you these broadcasts both live and on demand here on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel. Beginning with the Fort Lee Education Association, it's Greek to Me Restaurant, Connect One Bank, Carola Barber Viola, VFW Post, Rusin Doro Electric, Bridgemen Basketball Camps, UCS Strength and Speed, Senator Builders, the Bergen Black Sox Baseball Organization, Visions Federal Credit Union, the Collective Salon, the Finest Construction, Cafasso's Fairway Market, William T. Birch Children's Fund, and the Fort Lee Soccer Club. Thanks to all for helping make these broadcasts be possible. Now can be observed in beautiful 1080p, either on your mobile phone or on your laptop. So it's Andrew Garcia that will make the start for Ridgefield Park, the #1 pitcher this season. And he is off to a terrific start again, very capable as a sophomore that plays travel baseball like many of these Ridgefield Park players do with the Blue Jays organization. He's in the mid-80s already as a sophomore and loves to work on his craft as a pitcher, will play third base when not pitching, and he's a strike thrower. He lives on pounding the zone and challenging hitters. So far, the early numbers on Andrew Garcia, he's thrown 10 2/3, struck out 15 with a 1.97 ERA, 9 hits over that time, and only 2 walks issued for a high school sophomore is probably the statistic that speaks the most volumes. Here's the lineup today for Fort Lee, and the Bridgemen will have Stephen Kim leading it off, and at second base, Luke Senator doing the catching, hitting second. C.J. Senator in center, third. Jack Dorcom at third, fourth. Jacob Greenberg does the pitching with Luke Kim at short. Nico Sango in right, seventh. Ryan Park will DH and bat eighth, and Gabe Lasfall in left field, batting ninth. And the first pitch to Stephen Kim as he's backed off on it, and it's ball one. Fort Lee is without the terrific Christopher Kim, who is still out, just nursing a minor injury, their number 3 hitter. So that shortchanges Pete Kraljic's lineup a little bit as the fastball is fouled off 1-1. But that's what good programs have to do. Have others step up, and the best programs, regardless of sport, will just have the next player step in that has been waiting. And truly, that's what makes, especially in high school sports, programs win championships, not necessarily teams that might have several good players. As Garcia leaves that a little low, Kim now ahead in the count, 2 balls and a strike. And Kim will take a fastball and ground it to to shortstop, up with it and across. Ryan Lewis to retire Kim, and there's one away. Rest of the defense for the Scarlet Bucks of Ridgefield Park, with Lewis at short. Jason Alvarado is at third. J.D. Fusey is at second. Dominic Delval will only play first. He'll be DH'd for. And in the outfield, Jay Mejia is in left. Justin Maldonado is in center. Emmanuel Paula is in right. And Jeremy Balestis, a senior behind the plate, does the catching. Here's Luke Senator for the Bridgemen. Ridgefield Park, as I mentioned, in at 5-2. Gave up 3 unearned runs in their opener against Westwood. That's the team that both teams have lost to so far in the early season. Then they're coming off of a disappointing outing Saturday, as that's Paul 2 inside to Luke Senator. They lost at Hackensack 8-6 in what Scott Papetti felt was a really sloppy game, and they did not play up to their standards, up to the level of the competition that they're expected to play. And they're hoping to play up today, similar to statements from Pete Kraljic and Fort Lee. Last time out, the Bridgemen took care of Shabazz and just kind of did not perhaps play the cleanest game in a lot of ways. They won the game here on Saturday 6-1. So both teams trying to play up to each other's level or expected level. And Garcia misses high with the fastball, 3-1. To Luke Senator. And that misses. Oh, check that. That's a called strike. Low, cutting down across the knees to Luke. And a payoff pitch coming. And Garcia challenges with a high fastball and gets a foul off. Luke enters hitting .625, primarily at the number 2 hole. He's already driven in 9 runs from that spot, 3rd on the team. Garcia with the new baseball and his 3-2 pitch. And this one is mashed to center field, but right at the center fielder, Justin Maldonado to make the catch. A line drive well hit, but this is a deep outfield in this multi-purpose facility at the Sugarman Athletic Complex, where the fences, I think, in some areas are much further than a typical high school field, particularly to right center. So you're going to only see inside the Parkers hit here. Most times, that's why you'll see outfielders play extra deep at least another 5 yards back relative to other ballparks at the high school level. That ball probably in another park probably is over the outfielder's head because he's playing a little bit more shallow. Here's C.J. Senator as he swings and misses. It looks like a curveball in the dirt away. 0-1. And then he chases the fastball inside. Mid-80s fastball from Garcia. Now Garcia is already kind of up to his scouting report of attacking the strike zone. And his misses appear to be with purpose. 0-2. And a called strike 3 on the outer edge. Well, Andrew Garcia showing a great aptitude for pitching. He sets the Bridgemen down in order in the first. We're through 1, no score on a beautiful day in Fort Lee. Start of the second inning, and Peyton Thompson in the lineup as the DH to just hit for the Scarlet Bucks of Ridgefield Park. He'll lead it off against Jacob Greenberg and take ball 1 outside. Thompson has pretty good power to all fields. He ended up finishing out last season hitting cleanup, but a strong kid with power. Ground ball to third, cut off by Dorcom, and then his throw across is in time. Nice calm handle by Jack Dorcom after the ball was hit hard and did not rush it. And there's one gone. And that'll bring up J.D. Fusey. J.D. as a sophomore jumped right into the lineup and was last year as a freshman second team All Big North American, starting at second base and pitching. As he takes high, he already has 2 wins on the mound this year. And that's what makes this Ridgefield Park team very dangerous to make a deep Bergen County tournament run and state run. Nice changeup thrown by Jacob, 1-1. And JD's dad, Jim, in the dugout and as an assistant to Scott Papetti. Check swing, called strike, says the home plate umpire, 1-2. And then the fastball left upstairs. Dad, Jim Fusey, played baseball down at Mars Hill in North Carolina. This is a ground ball towards the middle, and it'll scoot through. A base hit for J.D. Fusey. Second hit for the Scarlet Bucks. And now we'll see perhaps if the bunt could be on, or J.D. Fusey perhaps runs ahead of the strong and powerful Emmanuel Paula. Now, Paula is just a junior, but when you walk past him, he embodies the look of a baseball player. And Greenberg will come up with a strike, kind of a delayed arm by the umpire, but it is indeed a strike. Paula's trying to find it, though, just 0-71. Dealt with a back issue. He's 1 for 14, couple of RBI. And takes a big cut there. And down to the count, 0-2. Looked like a changeup thrown by Greenberg. That's why Paula is hitting lower in the order, but last year as a sophomore was first team All-Big North American. And third team Bergen County. So he is trying to still find his levels. Been up and down so far. And a 3-year starter in right field. And a swing and a miss, and Paula is down on strikes. Best fastball, I think, from Jacob Greenberg so far. 2 away. So he fans his second, and he'll face the catcher, Jeremy Balestis. Balestis, the captain of this Ridgefield Park team, a tremendous leader, two-way player, as a check on Fusey. Scott Papetti very optimistic about his team, just like Fort Lee and Pete Kraljic is. A lot of veterans back, and they're still on the younger side, too. And it's kind of uncanny how similar kind of the current outlook is of each coach upon their teams, that they're close to their potential, but still a good chunk of the way to go to play up to that ability and then try to string it together over the long haul of a season. And another check there on Fusey. Jeremy Balestis at .250 in the season, 4 for 16. As he checks his swing, and Greenberg hits the lower half of the plate, picks up the called strike, 1-1. And now swings at that changeup, 1-2. So Jacob Greenberg already with a good pitch mix here. J.D. Fusey has yet to go or even bluff from first base. Here's 1-2 to Balestis as he lays off the high fastball. Balestis will take time to gather his thoughts. Spent his freshman year at Paramus Catholic. As he takes a called strike 3 on the low and outer edge. Pair of strikeouts, 2 more for Jacob Greenberg, including Paula and Balestis, who have power in the lower part of the lineup. So Ridgefield Park strands a runner on at first. Middle of the second, still no score in Fort Lee. Home second inning for the Bridgemen. And the first pitch from Andrew Garcia is inside, and it hits Jack Dorcom. So the leadoff runner aboard here in the second inning as Garcia almost hit Stephen Kim, too, overthrowing to open up the first inning. And now he'll deal with his first base runner. Now Dorcom was ready to swing, and the ball came right at him, and no chance to really back off on it. It wasn't that far inside. And here's Jacob Greenberg at the plate. And the first pitch, nice changeup thrown by Garcia. Already, these are the number one pitchers for each side. And you could see that it's going to come down to who may make less mistakes, come up with a key hit somewhere. Certainly the pitchers aren't going to be the ones, I think, greatly responsible. Nice changeup again. And it's 0-2 to Jacob Greenberg. That the pitchers are not going to be responsible for an inning that blows up on them. So it'll be about clean fielding today, and certainly take maybe the first feel of, or the second feel for each team of a playoff-like game. And Greenberg takes the fastball for a called strike 3. Second one set down by Garcia. And the Bridgemen will continue in the lineup. And here is freshman Luke Kim, starting at shortstop for the moment, with older brother Christopher down for another little while. Dorcom at first does have one stolen base, but not necessarily an obvious threat to take off. And Garcia right down the middle executes the pitch to Luke Kim. No balls and 2 strikes. Nico Sango on deck. Fort Lee with its first base runner. And then the first check on Dorcom. And that's high and tight. Although that looked like a purpose pitch just to back him off on 0-2. Now we'll see how Andrew Garcia might set it up. And the 1-2, he got a fastball. And trying to pull it, stays 1 ball and 2 strikes to Luke Kim. Luke is also going to be a pitcher in the Fort Lee program. And following the footsteps and particularly the work ethic, 2 of older brothers Christopher and Stephen. Another 1-2, got a high fastball, and Luke Kim hanging in there. And also for Luke Kim, just to handle shortstop right now, is also going to be significant. And so much on a young man's plate right now for a team that is expecting to get back into the Bergen County tournament and perhaps come up with their first win as a program in it. This is a line drive, knocked down by the second baseman. It goes into shallow center field. J.D. Futsi had it, and it looked like on his way down, it wasn't the ground that caused the ball to be knocked down. It was just hit so hard by Luke Kim. He's going to come up with a base hit. And Futsi just couldn't secure it, almost on the outer edge of the glove. First hit for Fort Lee. And Jack Dorcom, who had to hold up, is able to make it to second base after the ball skidded over to shallow center. So Nico Sango with 1 out and a pair on for the Bridgemen. As he swings at the high fastball. And now got a good one to hit, but fouls it straight back. Fort Lee knocking on the door. Luke Senator also hit the ball well in the first inning. And when you have a pitcher that can throw in the mid-80s, here even at the high school level, when it can be turned around and barreled up, it's going to do damage and perhaps be so hard hit that it's going to surprise high school fielders. Sango waits on the 0-2. And gets into the fastball and fouls it high off the backstop. Garcia will look back at both runners. And a swing and the miss. Strike three. Sango perhaps thought maybe I got a piece of it. He did not. Nice changeup thrown by Garcia. And the third strikeout for Garcia. 2 away. Here's Ryan Park, who has stepped up into the lineup without Christopher Kim as the next guy up. Park, a freshman, plays travel baseball, first baseman, third baseman by trade. As a check on Dorcom as Garcia spins around, no throw. And making the Fort Lee varsity on this deep team to contribute with a high baseball IQ and getting a chance. And Garcia's pitch high, the throw to first, not in time. Snap throw by Balestis, and Luke Kim was not really drifting too far off, but the first baseman, Dominic Del Val, credited him for sneaking behind him. And Park tries to hold up. I think the umpire is signaling a 2, which is no balls and 2 strikes. Normally they're supposed to point to the batter if there was a swing. And so we'll assume that that's what he intended. 0-2 to Ryan Park. There go the runners. Pitch swung on and missed, and the inning comes to an end. So Andrew Garcia handles matters by himself. He strikes out the side after the leadoff batter reached on a hit-by pitch. Fort Lee strands a pair. We're through 2 at the Dr. Alan W. Sugarman Sports Complex with no score. Start of the third inning, each team has had at least a threat and put a runner in scoring position through 2. And the number 9 batter is Jay Mejia, junior left fielder, hard-nosed player That's kind of the perfect number 9 batter in a lineup when you have the double leadoff and a varsity football player at Ridgefield Park. There's just a sprinkling of Bogota Buccaneers here on this team. As I mentioned before, Ridgefield Park is in a co-op for the 3rd straight year. As the first pitch by Jacob Greenberg is a strike. They're called the Ridgefield Park Scarlet Bucks, or the Scarlet Buccaneers. Ridgefield Park and Bogota merging to form one team, but it's primarily Ridgefield Park players, with Bogota not having enough numbers for the 3rd straight season to have their own baseball team. Bogota is a small school. As Greenberg misses inside, 2-1 to Mejia leading off the 3rd. Ridgefield Park on its own, they are the Scarlets. 2-1 that Mejia does not chase. 3 balls and a strike. So it's the 3rd year that this has happened, but it made a lot of sense because Ridgefield Park and Bogota, those 2 towns, play in the same Little League. So there's a lot of symmetry as Greenberg misses outside, ball 4. And Jay Mejia works a leadoff walk against Greenberg, his first that he's issued. And the first time that the Scarlet Bucks have put the leadoff runner aboard. And now the top of the order here for the dangerous Jason Alvarado. Alvarado, 3rd team All-Bergen County last year, the supreme tone setter of this team. Could be a threat to bunt, but quick enough where he can beat it out on his own. 542 on the season. And Greenberg misses with the high fastball. Alvarado is one of a couple of commitments that will play at the next level in this game. He'll play at Division II Georgian Court down in Lakewood in the tough CACC conference. Called Strike There 1-1, headlined nearby by Felician on a near annual basis out of Rutherford. And those are usually deep teams with no Division II roster limitation. Same for Division III. Pitch taken high and in. And 2 balls and a strike to Jason Alvarado. And those are hard rosters to make compared to the Division I roster restrictions. A ground ball up the middle, handled by Stephen Kim at second, flips to Luke Kim, and that's all that Fort Lee will get. But a good play by Stephen Kim just to get over there, and Fort Lee picks up an out, 1 away. Here's Ryan Lewis, who singled sharply up the middle his first time. And this game projects to have several players on both sides that should end up playing college baseball at some extent. Division II, Division III. Squared to bunt Lewis. There goes the runner. The throw down by Luke Senator goes into center field. It's a stolen base by Jason Alvarado, but backed up by C.J. Senator to prevent an advancement. So Alvarado now with his 10th stolen base of the year. Nothing in 1 to Ryan Lewis as he swings and loops the ball to right field. Nico Sango back, and he'll make the catch. And no opportunity to tag for Alvarado, 2 away. As Justin Maldonado comes up at second. He's been nearly automatic, and you see why. 2-1 to Justin Maldonado. Misses in, 3-1. And a 3-1 to get me over. Little changeup for a strike. Luke Senator on high alert behind home plate. And now time called by Justin Maldonado, the batter. It is a real dirt, not a Not a turf area around home plate. So the ball can skid some, but it can get slowed down. Swing and a miss, and Justin Maldonado chases the 3-2 pitch out of the strike zone. Jacob Greenberg has struck out 5 through 3 and strands a runner on at third base. Middle of the third, we remain scoreless at Fort Lee. Home third inning, Fort Lee and Ridgefield Park remaining scoreless. Number 9 batter Gabe Lasfall on the lineup for Fort Lee again. And the junior steps in. So far, Garcia has struck out 4 and has hit a batter. And Fort Lee has had a base hit as well from Luke Kim as that first pitch is outside. Lasfall's first opportunity to start this year, 3 for 13 coming in, 231. But his glove keeps him in the lineup in left field. As Garcia a little bit off on his stride, misses 2 balls and no strikes. And Garcia, just telling by his body language, still now trying to find and recover his release point and stride. That's ball 3. Again, coming in, having walked just 2 over now 12 2/3. 3-0. And I guess the umpire gave him the strike with no signal, 3-1. And then Garcia misses away. Lasfall doesn't chase. And there's the first walk issued by Andrew Garcia. So the top of the order for Fort Lee as Garcia will think about how to reset himself. Kim also a capable bunter. And we'll see if the Bridgemen will perhaps try to get the ball, get thrown around a little bit, and maybe send Lasfall and put him in motion. It has the feel of a game that's not going to have big innings. And Kim chases the first pitch, not bunting, and fouls it back. And frustrated with himself, that was a good pitch to hit. Stephen hitting .600. Put in a ton of work in the offseason to bulk up. He's driven in 12, which is a team high, and has 7 extra base hits out of his 12 hits. Last fall at first. And Garcia to the plate, inside and high. Bolestis has to go get it and prevent it from reaching the backstop. Junior Stephen Kim, Luke Senator on deck. And the 1-1 fastball, that's low. Terrific block by Bolestis behind the plate. That was big time. That was high level for Jeremy Bolestis. And that was a college level block on a mid-80s fastball. Kim now ahead of the count, 2 balls and a strike. There goes Lasval. The pitch high, ball 3. The throw down by Bolestis. Good throw, but a little high. Safe at second base is Gabe Lasval. Stolen base for the Bridgemen. It was not the best pitch to run on a high fastball, but Bolestis throw a little high. And if it's down where it needed to be, it's probably a caught stealer. So now Stephen Kim, and here's time called between our umpires. I'm wondering if there's a thought here of any kind of batter's interference, but the pitch was high and more outside rather than in. So Stephen Kim really had nothing to do with Bolestis throwing. And it appears it is just a very short conversation. And the 3-1 line to left, and that'll drop for a base hit in front of me here. Lasval had to hold up with the ball being looped. So he is stopped at third base, first and third with nobody out for the Bridgemen. Well, Stephen Kim didn't quite barrel it up, but as a symbol of his new strength, and he was able to still do something with it and put it well over the infield. So now Luke Senator will hit, and a contact batter, and Scott Papetti will call time to go over scenarios. Senator could be a bunting option here. And certainly with Stephen Kim at first, you expect that Fort Lee is going to send Stephen Kim and see if Bolestis will throw down. And meanwhile, for Andrew Garcia, can this act as a reset for him to try to find the strike zone? Scott Papetti back in the dugout in his 13th season. He's also coached high school varsity girls basketball a long time at Mahwah, Paramus Catholic, and spent 2 years at the Rutgers Newark women's basketball program as an assistant in Division III, 16 and 17. Played his high school ball at Dumont before playing baseball at Montclair State. Luke Senator lined out sharply to center his first time, as he takes a little bit of a slider away for ball 1. So Stephen Kim was not going on the first pitch. And now Luke will call time again. Gabe Lastfall at third. Stephen Kim at first, with Fort Lee threatening to take the lead in the home third. And now a fake to third, fake throw to first, and nothing given away. Luke Senator at the plate or the runners. Here comes the 1-0. And Garcia had to come up with the strike and does with the high fastball. And again, a fake throw to first, fake throw to third, look at first, and nothing yet given away. What a great chess match here in the Big North American. Two contending teams, defending league champion Fort Lee, hosting Ridgefield Park. And the fastball is high, and Lastfall took a big jump off a third, stealing second base's Stephen Kim. Second and third with nobody out for the Bridgemen. So a little bit of a bluff takeoff at third by Lastfall. And Balestis, his eyes were to third, not to second. Now the 2-1, and that's skied in the air to left. Jay Mejia backpedaling, looking, and it'll drop into left center field, a base hit. One run will score. Holding up from second and third goes Stephen Kim. The ball was hit very high. And Justin Maldonado in center never really saw it. It'll be a stand-up double for Luke Senator as it bloops into shallow center field. Fort Lee takes the lead 1-0. At first, as I'm watching the outfielders, Jamie Hia come in. Not much cloud cover, of course. It's a beautiful sunny day. And the best day we've had so far for baseball in the spring. As C.J. Senator, second and third, nobody out bats. As he chases the fastball, and Garcia picks up a swing and a miss. C.J. started the day hitting .478 with 11 driven in. Second on the team only to Stephen Kim. As he gets the fastball and chases and punches that foul. And Garcia calls time. And that's his shortstop, Ryan Lewis. Well, now mention something, perhaps maybe to change up the signs. If he may have noticed the runner on at second base, and that's Luke Senator, who's a catcher, a senior, that would know a thing or two about sign sequencing and to try to steal one. And Jeremy Balestis also now in on that conversation with Ridgefield Park changing it up. That's what league play is about when you play twice a year annually, where there's a lot of subtleties that the players can pick up too compared to a non-conference team. And the 0-2 and a good hack but foul straight up. Fort Lee has broken through and grabbed the game's first run. The Bridgemen at 5-1 in the season. Ridgefield Park 5-2. And the 0-2. And this time CJ will lay off a ball and 2 strikes. Jack Dorcom is on deck. And the 1-2, and that's fouled straight up. Garcia again on 1-2. And C.J. Senator is getting a good look at sophomore right-hander Andrew Garcia of Ridgefield Park. C.J. second team All-Big North American Division last year as a sophomore. Honorable mention as a freshman in his third year in the varsity. Great experience now, strength from his great football abilities as one of the best running backs in his division. And the 1-2 is a called strike three. A fastball that Garcia is able to sneak past him, and C.J. Senator down on strikes for the second time. Fifth strikeout for Garcia, and there's one away for Jack Dorcom. And now Ridgefield Park will bring the infield in all around. Squaring to bunt Dorcom. Dorcom gets the bunt down, right back to Garcia. The throw home is not in time. Lasfo will slide in ahead of the tag. To third base goes Kim. 2-0 Fort Lee. Well, a perfect push bunt by Jack Dorcom. And Lasfo in a suicide squeeze. He was not hesitating. He was going. And Dorcom had to put the ball in play and did. Fort Lee is able to steal another run. So a fielder's choice to the pitcher, RBI. Dorcom to first. Kim crosses over to third. And Jacob Greenberg trying to help himself further. And a fake at third, look at first again by Garcia. And Jacob Greenberg not giving anything away with the bunt. Jack Dorcom likely will take off at some point. And Garcia starts off Greenberg with a first pitch strike. Lays off. Jacob at the plate at .235 on the season. 4 for 17, has driven in 5. And still looking for his first extra base hit. And now a check at Dorcom at first base. And he was very close. Now another toss-over, close play. And Dorcom this time sliding in safely. Garcia's 1-1, and that's sent in the air to center field. Backpedaling, Lewis, the shortstop, the center fielder Maldonado makes the catch. Tagging is Kim. He'll come in to score ahead of the throw. Sacrifice fly and an RBI for Jacob Greenberg makes it 3-0 Fort Lee in the third. Dorcom holds up at first. One on a 1-1 pitch. Jacob knew just getting the ball somewhere in the air gets the job done. And Maldonado, upon catching the ball, just didn't quite have his feet set to really throw it on line. It's now Luke Kim with 2 down. And Garcia trying to close the door here. And comes up with a first pitch strike. Luke with a solid single to center. His first time up. And he is impressing, hitting .462 coming in to open up his varsity career. And this fastball low goes to the backstop, and advancing to second base is Dorcom on the wild, rather, yes, it is Dorcom on the wild pitch. Actually have a pinch runner aboard, and that's Jeremiah Marrero at first that came in. Kim waits on 1-1. And that one blocked, backhanded beautifully by Balestis. And he'll ask for time as he tries to get on the same page with Andrew Garcia. Well, it feels like a big runner aboard on at second, and Jeremiah Romero for both teams. As Luke Kim pulls it wide of third. And this is a ground ball left side. Lewis has to field, and it's under his glove into left field. Making the turn is Marrero. He'll score. A 2-out RBI single for Luke Kim. Tacks on another. It's a 4-run third now for the Bridgemen. It was going to be very difficult to get an out there at the high school level. Once it was out of the reach of the third baseman, Jason Alvarado, Lewis was going to have to put it in his back pocket. Lewis, I think, was attempting to perhaps backhand and come up with a Jeter-like jump throw as a check on Luke Kim at first, or at least maybe trying to come up with the backhand and throw it to the plate, because with 2 outs, Jeremiah Marrero was going and was making a turn aggressively. There goes Luke Kim, and the pitch to Nico Sango is fouled off. And Garcia to the plate. And he gets Nico in front. Four runs are in on 3 hits for the Bridgemen, still batting against the Ridgefield Park #1 pitcher, Andrew Garcia. And Garcia has been battling his mechanics throughout this inning. There goes Luke Kim, pitch outside, and Luke will steal second base without a throw. So Fort Lee stealing second 3 times in the inning. And it's a 2-ball and 1 strike count. As Sango chases the fastball. Nico Sango has been an all-division selection the last 2 years. Second team All-Big North American last year. Honorable mention as a sophomore. Garcia now with the 2-2. There goes Luke Kim as it's fouled off again. Nico got a healthy selection of fastballs last inning before striking out swinging. Two again. Kim not going, and Nico grounds it foul. And now Sango takes the 2-2, and that is hit well, but foul, deep down the right field side and towards Lewis Cole Middle School. That's well into the parking lot. Fortunately, no damage from what I saw. But this has a cumulative effect working on the starting pitcher. And the 2-2 swung on in the dirt. However, Balestis has to pick it up. His throw is wide and offline, and safe at first base is Sango. A strikeout but wild pitch that puts Luke Kim over to third, and the third inning continues. Not much that Jeremy Balestis can do. He was fortunate that the ball seemed to bounce back to him pretty quickly and didn't have to chase much. But he had no angle to really throw and get Sango. So first and third again for Ryan Park. As Park takes the first pitch strike. That cumulative effect I talked about. Of course, the pitch number matters a lot in high school baseball. As Balestis handles the fastball low. J.D. Fusey would likely be next, or Jason Alvarado from shortstop, or third base rather, to be the next pitcher. And the 1-1, sky to shallow center. Justin Maldonado is in, and he makes the catch, and the inning comes to an end. Ryan Park flies out, but Fort Lee sends 9 to the plate. They pick up 4 runs on 3 hits, leaving 2. 3 innings complete at the Sugarman Athletic Complex, and the Bridgemen out quickly 4-0. Well, it's Jacob Greenberg staked to a 4-0 lead as he starts the 4th inning, facing his adversary in Andrew Garcia, who misses low and away. And Greenberg comes back and picks up the strike. Offensively, Ridgefield Park has put at least 1 base runner aboard in their first 3 plate appearances. And in the first and third, a runner in scoring position. But Fort Lee able to use the running game greatly to their advantage. As he gets ahead, rather even with Garcia, 2-2. And then executing particularly the bunt by Jack Dorcom was a significant play to get the bunt down. And the 2-2 is in there for a called strike 3. Well, Greenberg attacking the zone this afternoon. He strikes out his 6th. Garcia caught looking, and there's one away in the 4th. So he's retired 4 straight, and here's Peyton Thompson. And Thompson is a junior, also a varsity football player. And this one, as Thompson a little behind, I think, the changeup, as he fouls that off 1-1. As that misses away, a year ago, it was Fort Lee that won both meetings in the regular season. As that's high, and it's 3 balls and 2 strikes en route to their first league title or division championship of any kind since the 1950s. They won 2 high-scoring games. And the 3-2 low and away, ball 4. So Peyton Thompson wouldn't offer at anything to get himself out. Second walk issued by Greenberg to bring up J.D. Fusey. Last year's games 14-2 and 10-3 Bridgemen. Fusey singled back up the middle on a hard ground ball in the second. We'll see if Thompson will get going. As Fusey takes off the plate. And Greenberg will paint the inside edge with a fastball. Dad Jim Fusey, I had a chance to meet and broadcast his 2010 boys soccer state championship game. He's been the longtime coach at Cliffside Park Boys. Swing and the miss of the high fastball, 1-2. And good to run into him. Dad Jim, super sharp. Still, I was able to pull up my chart from 2010, and he knew all the starters. And the 1-2, and Fusey is called out on strikes. And terrific sharp breaking ball from Greenberg fans his 7th, and there's 2 away. Here's Emmanuel Paula. Well, Jim Fusey was able to even go through the backups on that team. Didn't really need much of a hint, and when you win a state championship, most coaches should remember the lineups of those teams. Called strike to Emmanuel Paula. Jim Fusey had played soccer and baseball at Cliffside Park. As that pitch over the head of Paula, and it hits him. Looks like Emmanuel Paula's okay. Perhaps that grazed the top of his helmet. And he did not really seem to react to it. And that's very good news for Ridgefield Park, as Paula has been dealing with a back issue too and trying to get his swing going. So Peyton Thompson will take second, Paula at first, 2-1 with 2 down for Jeremy Balestis. And Greenberg will start him off with a strike. And now Jacob misses a little up and away. Balestis was caught looking in the second inning. And the 1-1 and a good pitch from Greenberg. Got the inner part of the plate, 1-2. Ridgefield Park has been looking for their bottom of the order to step up in this early season. Here's a big moment here, as getting a fastball and fouling it straight up is Balestis. Top of the order has been very good, led by Alvarado, Lewis, and Justin Maldonado. But certainly to go from good to an excellent team, you see the teams that compete for deep runs is the whole order. And the 1-2 that Greenberg will see if Balestis will chase. He does not. And the very best programs have tough outs all the way 1 through 9. 2-2 fastball up and away, and Balestis has worked it full. Greenberg with a look back. And before the payoff pitch. And time is called by Balestis. Then the 3-2 is up, high, and away, ball 4. So the second walk issued, and the bases are loaded for the Scarlet Bucks. So Balestis, an experienced senior, would not chase, and he'll pass the baton along now to Jay Mejia, number 9 man of the order for the Scarlet Bucks. And he walked last inning and ended up being forced out. And Greenberg starts him off with the first pitch strike. Well, Jacobs had a pretty good ratio of first pitch strikes so far, and trying to work through 4 innings. And the 0-1, same spot, 0-2. Peyton Thompson at third, Emmanuel Paula at second, Jeremy Balestis at first. And Mejia does not reach there. Mejia became a starter late last season. And the 1-2, he fights off the high fastball. It was truly an accomplished season last year for Ridgefield Park. They finished 13-13, 5-3 in the league, and basically did not play any seniors. 1-2, and a little mini foul off. They reached the first round of the North 1 Group 3 tournament, lost at Morris Knolls, were run ruled 11-1, but qualified for the Bergen County tournament, lost 7-3 at Rutherford. One, 2 is a ground ball towards the middle, handled by Stephen Kim, and throws over to Spencer Plout, and the inning is over. Jacob Greenberg able to get out of it after walking to and hitting a batter, but he is able to maintain his composure and get the side out. Middle of the 4th, it stays Fort Lee 4, Ridgefield Park nothing. First pitch to Gabe Lasval to open up the bottom of the fourth inning is taken low here from Andrew Garcia. Starts his fifth inning of work. And Garcia spent most of the third inning, in addition to base runners on and a merry-go-round behind him, trying to find his release point and stride as he worked himself into some trouble with a leadoff walk last inning to Gabe Lasval. Meanwhile, time is called as the home plate umpire trots down to first base, and maybe he's having some sort of an issue as I see. Look at him between first base and home plate. And maybe trying to adjust his mask. Does not appear to be writing. With Lasval at the plate. And while Garcia didn't walk anybody else besides Lasval in the third inning, he was consistently trying to find his command. As there he comes up with the strike to Lasval, 1-1. He did strike out 2, but the second strikeout was a swing and a miss plus wild pitch. So no out was recorded. He had to face the extra batter in Ryan Park and eventually got him to fly out. 1-2 to Lasval, in there for a called strike 3. Well, Lasval thought it was outside. It was definitely not. And Garcia is able to spot the fastball. One away in the fourth. So his 7th strikeout, and will set up the top of the order again for the Bridgemen. And it says a lot, though, of a young pitcher like a sophomore here to be able to return for the next inning, reset, and get back to what was pretty good in the first and the second. Stephen Kim fouls off the first pitch, and that's what makes Andrew Garcia highly thought of by Scott Papetti, Jim Fusey, and the entire Ridgefield Park staff, that he pounds the strike zone. And as a hitter from Fort Lee, you have to expect the ball is going to be around the plate. And that's where you can start to extend your swing because of that expectation. As Kim takes the fastball high and tight, 2-1. Stephen last inning singled, stole a base, and ended up scoring a run on a Luke Senator bloop double to center. And that's a strike inside. Kim doesn't like it. It's 2-2. Stephen Kim, a returning first-team All-Big North American Division honoree. And he'll take this ball to right field, drifting back and making the catch is Emmanuel Paula. 2 away. Oh, Kim hit it well. And a nice line drive that continued to carry, but Paula, playing deep as it is, pulls it in. 2 away in the fourth for Luke Senator. Luke had a quality at-bat, as did C.J. Senator last inning. Luke came up with a bloop double before C.J. struck out looking. But the cumulative effect that I talked about that affects pitchers at all levels, Fort Lee was able to do. And the high fastball as he challenges Luke with swing and a miss. 1 ball and 1 strike. And the same way that Andrew Garcia has to pitch his way back into his mechanics, the longer a lineup can make him go, as the high fastball is off 2-1, you can also get a pitcher by wasting some of his pitches, making him work, put him into spells of wildness as a lineup. And And that 3-1 is outside, ball 4. So Senator is on base. And the second walk issued by Garcia comes with 2 down to bring up C.J. Senator. And only the most elite high school pitchers will go through that roller coaster and get themselves back on track with their command. And you're seeing that Andrew Garcia has that potential of being able to do that. And CJ takes the first pitch strike. CJ with 2 tough at-bats. He's been called out on strikes in both of them. And a good take there, 1-1. Older brother Luke is on at first. Not necessarily a running threat, particularly in this situation. 2 outs and being on first. However, Garcia will keep him close anyway. Jeremy Balestis has shown that he has a pretty good arm. Even if it's a pitch that's not necessarily right down the middle, that he can still throw out runners at the high school level. Runner not going, swing and a miss at the fastball, and it's 1-2. There goes Luke Senator, pitch high for a ball, throw by Balestis is in time for the caught stealing. Wow, the ball exploded from Jeremy Balestis, and he put it on the money to the shortstop Lewis, who simply reached down and tagged him out. Terrific throw by Jeremy Balestis, and C.J. Senator will be stranded at the plate. Luke Senator thrown out 2-6. Nothing across for Fort Lee. We're through 4, still 4-0 Bridgemen. Fifth inning at Fort Lee. And Ralph Bednarczyk back with you today at the Dr. Alan W. Sugarman Complex. What great weather at 77 degrees. And very light wind. And it'll stay that way, I think, definitely through Wednesday. Wednesday is going to be in the 80s when these two teams meet at Ridgefield Park. That's a 4:15. And then Fort Lee will be at Paramus Catholic and playing up with certainly a non-conference game that Coach Pete Kraljic has put in with great purpose in the early season come up with notable victories. Fort Lee would love nothing better than come up with a better seed for the state tournament. Line shot to short. Luke Kim will short hop, grab it, and then throw across the plow to get Jason Alvarado one away. Wow, super composure shown there by freshman Luke Kim. Ball was hit hard. Sometimes when a young player is adjusting to this level, they freeze when a ball is hit that well. And Luke Kim just made it look like instead of a ball that was hit maybe 60 miles an hour off the bat, like it was 20. Now Ryan Lewis, who's 1 for 2. And swings through the Greenberg pitch. Last year, the Bridgemen did get a pretty good seed. They were the 5 seed and lost a home game here to 12-seeded Paramus in the North 1 Group 3 first round. But would love to get a higher seed for the Bergen County tournament, of course, should they get there. That's outside 2-1. Fort Lee last year 17-9, the most wins in a very long time. The furthest the records go back is 2014. And that is by far their best winning season. 12-14 2 years ago. Fort Lee's last double-digit win season prior to 24 came in 2015. 3-1, misses high, ball 4 to Ryan Lewis, and he is on with a 1-out walk. Fourth walk issued by Jacob Greenberg. And time is called. Fort Lee has had some warm-up action along the third base foul territory area. And this does not look to be a pitching change. And assistant coach and pitching coach Ian Oates is out to have a word with Jacob. And I think to go over the defensive scenario here. Lewis at first with Justin Maldonado batting. So Maldonado steps in. Lewis has stolen 9 bases already. First pitch swung on and missed by Maldonado. Ridgefield Park entered with 3 players having 9 stolen bases. It's a team that does a ton of running. They've stolen 39 through 7 games. As Greenberg will step off. And Maldonado does not chase out of the zone. 2-2. And the 2-2 inside, and it hits Justin Maldonado. Second hit batter, 2-1 with 1 out to bring up Andrew Garcia. So Greenberg, I think, was expecting the ball to break. It did not. And time will be called as the base runners will assemble down the third baseline with Andrew Garcia coming up. And obviously it could be a bunt situation. And a potential hit and run, too. Third time through the order for this Ridgefield Park team. So Garcia stands in. And Greenberg to the plate. And the first pitch taken low, ball one. Garcia has struck out twice. And Greenberg's pitch inside, that's off the glove of Luke Senator. But no chance to advance. I'm surprised Ryan Lewis seeing that ball in front of him. And just the way the ball seemed to pop out as Luke Senator seemed to want to transfer from glove to hand. And Lewis maybe caught a little flat-footed. 2-0, pitch outside, throw to first, not in time, but taking third base on the throw is Ryan Lewis. Well, that could be in the category of over-aggression from a catcher. So not a stolen base, just moving to third on the throw to first. And then the 3-0 is hammered onto the Fort Lee dugout down the third baseline. So now Maldonado, who has wonderful speed at first, we'll see if he goes here. Ridgefield Park set up to do damage in the fifth, trailing 4-0. And Greenberg to the plate, a ground ball to short. Kim will backhand. Now the long throw, and it gets plowed off the bag. The run will score, and it's 4-1. Lewis comes in, and nothing really Luke Kim could have done. He may have had the out at second. He was drifting still so far away towards the 5-6 hole. If the throw is online, it's a close play and perhaps an out. Infield single for Andrew Garcia drives in the first run. And Peyton Thompson will bat. And we have a pinch runner aboard at first base for Garcia. As Thompson takes the fastball and fouls that off the screen. And same pitch that drifts further wide. And a ground ball to Kim. This time he goes the short way. He gets the force out at third base. Well done again by Luke Kim. Very impressive freshman shortstop. And he made that throw look easy. So many times there'll be shortstops that'll rush that throw or bounce it. But he picks up the force out, 6-5 at third, 2 outs. And here's J.D. Fusey. As he chases the first pitch. Could see J.D. come in next inning to pitch. Travel baseball player. And as a sophomore, made the varsity basketball team. Pitch high and tight, 1-1. And plays travel baseball for the CPPA organization, or CBPA. This is a tapper to short. Kim charges, has it, throws in time for the out. Sharp shortstop play from the freshman Luke Kim. Jacob Greenberg is out of the inning, giving up a run on 1 hit and leaving 2 on base. Middle of the fifth, Fort Lee's lead is now 4-1. the Bridgemen now leading 4-1 as we go to the home 5th inning, as C.J. Senator will have his at-bat reset. He was at the plate when older brother Luke was thrown out trying to steal second by Jeremy Balestis, who made an outstanding throw to close out the 4th. And C.J. goes after the pitch and skies it. Well hit to right center. It's going back. Maldonado makes the catch along the fence. Justin Maldonado, I think, brought it back. One away. It's a breakaway fence that he made contact with. I think if he doesn't catch it, it's not a high fence. It goes about 5 feet in the air, maybe even 4 feet. It probably clears it for a home run. So C.J. Senator makes a loud, long first out. Here's Jeremiah Marrero batting for the first time. Marrero pitch ran for Jack Dorcom and then stayed in to play third base for the top of the 4th inning. As Marrero gets a good cut, and down on the count 1-2. That's as good of a high school catch as you'll see for an outfielder going back along a fence to bring in. And Justin Maldonado is only a sophomore. Scott Papetti said he could be very special. And Marrero continues to foul it off because he's long, lanky, very athletic. That's why he was the starting center fielder last year as a freshman. Used to be a soccer player, but has prioritized baseball. One-two to Jeremiah Marrero, and he reaches and fouls it off. And he now plays for a travel organization called the Wow Factor Baseball. And plays against some of the Fort Lee players over the summer in those games. But that was a Wow Factor catch in deep right center. As Marrero takes the fastball off the plate, 2-2 to Jeremiah. Second year on the varsity. A very reliable glove at second base, third base. As he swings and misses at the curveball. And the 2-2 gets him, and there's 2 gone in the 5th. 8th strikeout for Andrew Garcia, and we move along to Jacob Greenberg. As Greenberg takes inside, misspoke earlier, Andrew Garcia is a junior this year, not a soph. As Jacob takes ball 2. Jacob's 0 for 1 with a sacrifice fly and an RBI last time up in the 3rd. That plated the run that made it 3-0. As Garcia now is seemingly in a much more aggressive mindset with the fastball. And he has, I think, gotten back to what he looked like in the 1st and 2nd innings. And this is a hard shot, too short. Ryan Lewis backhands, throws, and it's picked by Dominic Delval. Fine play by the first baseman. That's why he's in the lineup, just hitting. Nice pickup there to save his pitcher, and a nice throw across and handle by Ryan Lewis. Fort Lee goes in order for the second time with through 5, still 4-1 Bridgemen. We start the 6th inning with a new pitcher on the mound for Fort Lee. Jacob Greenberg is done after 5 innings, giving up 1 earned run. Here's freshman Luke Kim moving from shortstop to the mound. And James Eno replaces him at short. And the first pitch to Emmanuel Paula is in there for a strike. So Fort Lee trying to find 6 outs. They got an outstanding performance from Stephen Kim, his older brother, to close out Shabazz on Saturday afternoon. And now Luke Kim's fastball fouled off 0-2. Luke has thrown 3 2/3. He's struck out 4, given up 1 earned run, 2 hits over that time, an ERA of 1.91. As Paula does not chase, Paula has been hit by a pitch and struck out swinging. And a swing and a miss, and Kim goes back to the same spot, and Paula could not catch up to it. 1 away. Luke Kim's arm is also impressed, and that's why he has been put in at shortstop this young in his career. And as coaches have told me, pitching is just an aggressive form of playing catch, and you can do that at the high school level. You don't have to be a refined pitcher to have success. As Jeremy Balestis will jackknife out of the way of ball 1. But you can have success just throwing hard and changing speeds like you would be just throwing the ball to a teammate playing catch, and find success even that way. And Kim comes right back and shows a conventional fastball for a strike. And now this ball sent in the air to left field on a base hit for Balestis. Gabe Lafsfall will track it down. And a line drive that Balestis was able to elevate. And he comes up with a 4th hit for Ridgefield Park. And a 1-out single for Jay Mejia. Mejia could be in a bunt situation, and he is, but he pulls it back. And Balestis not going with the pitch. The book is closed, by the way, for Jacob Greenberg. He goes 5 innings, gives up an earned run, 3 hits, 4 walks, 2 hit batters. Mejia squares to bunt, gets it down nicely. Kim picks it up, and he'll take the easy out, throws it over to Spencer Plout at first. And there's 2 away. Even the high IQ there of Luke Kim, not to panic. He probably had a chance to throw to second to get the lead runner, but up 3, getting to out number 2 felt more significant to prevent a big inning. Sacrifice successful for Jay Mejia, with Jason Alvarado coming up. And Balestis is going to be pinch run for now at second base. Actually, it's just time called as I see Balestis over talking to his third base coach. So he is going back to second. You see Jeremy Balestis returning here. I was about to say, once you pull Balestis, that also changes the running game for Fort Lee when they would bat in the bottom of the 6th. Jason Alvarado at the plate. And the first pitch, line drive to right field. Nico Sango coming in, and he made the catch. He snared it off the turf. Side retire. Nico Sango makes the best Fort Lee defensive play of the day. That ball was ticketed to do damage, And Sango was able to get his body behind it and then get down and then secure. For Ridgefield Park, no runs, a hit, and a runner stranded at second base. Fort Lee back in the dugout. Their lead remains 4-1. Bottom of the sixth inning, and a new pitcher in for Ridgefield Park. Here is J.D. Fusey, who comes in from his second base spot. I'll see if I can tell who is now at second. Looks like Ridgefield Park has moved some people around. It'll be Luke Kim, Nico Sango, and Ryan Park here in the sixth. And JD misses high. Jason Alvarado moves from third base to shortstop. And looks like Ryan Lewis goes to second base, and there's a new third baseman. As Luke Kim fouls that off. And it's Andrew Garcia who goes from the mound to third base. So that's how Scott Pipetti turns the wheel on his infield. 2-2 to Luke Kim. And this is a line drive to center field, and that's over the head of Lewis and a base hit. Well, Luke Kim has done it all today. He is 3 for 3, and a leadoff single to start the sixth inning for the Bridgemen. Sits back and gets a 2-2 fastball that he's able to handle and line to center. And Nico Sango now in a potential bunt spot with Fort Lee to try to add some insurance ahead of the top of the seventh. as Sango not bunting takes ball one. Numbers on J.D. Fusey. The sophomore right-hander has thrown 11 innings already. Struck out 11, walked just 2, ERA of 2.55. And now as I see these two teams, I have more than a feeling that these two teams are going to be battling each other for several years down the road. There is quality young players on both sides. As that 1-0 is high and tight. And this is what the standard looks like. And for Ridgefield Park to see what the standard looks like, facing a team that earned a 5 seed in last year's state tournament. Sango gets the bunt down on 2-0. Only one play for Fusey, and he'll make it the first. Luke Kim advances to second, and the sacrifice successful for Nico Sango. So he is about to get some high fives as he heads off. And an RBI opportunity for Ryan Park. As Park taking strike one all the way. And then strike two. So Fusey showing that he can spot his pitches with decent velocity. And on 0-2 then gets the high fastball and the expected foul off. '24 Ridgefield Park won their last of 3 straight Big North American Division championships before Fort Lee won their first as a program last May. And the 0-2 pitch is in there for a called strike 3. Park doesn't like the high call. And he's out of there. And J.D. Fusey has his first strikeout, and there's 2 away for the number 9 batter, Gabe Lasval. Ridgefield Park 2 years ago finished a solid 14-11 after going 7-1 in the Big North American. There's only 5 teams in the league. So you played just a total of 8. And this is ground ball to short. Alvarado will throw wild, and it goes past the first baseman. Turning third and scoring is Luke Kim. Fort Lee gets some insurance. It's 5-1 in the 6th inning. Jason Alvarado got to the ball quickly and then ended up rushing the throw and skipping it past Dominic Del Val at first. All of his mechanics, everything was set except just his body language all of a sudden showed that he had to rush. And that's an E6 throwing error. Last full is aboard, top of the order, and Stephen Kim instead will get another plate appearance. And taking second on the errant throw is Lasval. So an unearned run is in for the Bridgemen. And Stephen Kim takes outside. Stephen 1 for 3. And a fastball called strike 1 and 2. Well, Stephen was over the plate, almost bailing out. But Balestis able to frame it to help his pitcher J.D. Fusey get ahead. And as a 2-2 is pulled foul. Last full at second. Fort Lee, I think, would not run here on Balestis' arm, particularly at third, and take the bat out of the hands of one of their top hitters. Stephen Kim started the day hitting .600. Fusey again with the 2-2, and now he'll step off just as Ryan Lewis started to flirt with covering second base for a potential pickoff. And this 2-2 is crushed in the air to center field. Maldonado going back, and it's off of his glove along the fence. One run will score. On his way to third base is Stephen Kim. The relay by Alvarado is late. A long triple by Stephen Kim makes it 6-1 Bridgemen. Well, Justin Maldonado almost came up with his second great catch. And he also got a glove on it, but could not haul that one in. He really had to extend across his body and low in a terrific effort. But Kim crushed it and hit it a long way. As now Luke Senator bats with a runner on in third, 2 down. And now he takes the strike on 1-1, and it's another extra base hit for Stephen Kim. His 4th triple of the season. 8 extra base hits out of his 14. And Luke Senator takes strike 2. Fort Lee has been able to tack on. And the 2-2 high chopper to third. Tough play. Andrew Garcia fields, throws late. Not in time. Infield single for Luke Senator. And coming in to score, Stephen Kim, 7-1 Bridgemen. Well, nothing that Andrew Garcia could have done with that, because the ball was hit so hard into the turf and then high in the air. By the time the ball comes down and Stephen Kim running with 2 outs on contact, and Garcia really, if you throw home, it's a tag play. That's very difficult. So he tries to get Luke Senator, but still the ball was in the air so long, and it's an infield hit and an RBI for Luke. Time called as J.D. Fusey will get a visit before C.J. Senator will bat. CJ's last time up, he was robbed of a home run by Justin Maldonado in center field. I got a pretty good look at it, and Maldonado's glove was just about even with the fence. As the pitch high, Luke Senator maybe bluffing to go, and CJ takes ball 2. Luke Senator goes, and the hit and run, and CJ fouls it off. 7 runs on 7 hits for Fort Lee this afternoon. And on 2-1, he doesn't chase out of the zone. Ball 3. And the 3-1. Big bouncer to short. The flip there by Alvarado to Lewis to get the force out. Fort Lee gets 3 more big runs. And all 3 were unearned. 3 runs on 2 hits. They leave 1 on base. We head to the 7th inning as the Bridgemen look for the closeout. Top of the 7th inning, Luke Kim on to close it out for the Bridgemen. Starting his 2nd inning of work, he'll face 2, 3, and 4, and Ryan Lewis takes the first pitch strike. A run on 4 hits and 1 error for Ridgefield Park. 7 runs, 7 hits, no errors for Fort Lee. Seeing two teams on Wednesday at Ridgefield Park. And Kim to the plate, and he sneaks the high fastball past Ryan Lewis. Lewis has been on base twice. 1 for 2. A single up the middle in the 1st, and then walking in the 5th. And the 1-2 almost hit him. 2-2. Ridgefield Park came into this game at 5-2. Gave up 3 unearned runs late against Westwood in their season opener March 30th to lose that game 6-4. As Coach Scott Papetti reflecting back on what could have been about his team, that we're just close to our potential. We seem to be off in the middle innings, just lose some intensity and not make some key plays. And then on Saturday at Hackensack, losing 8-6 to see a 5-game winning streak come to an end. And the 2-2 in there for a called strike 3. Luke Kim strikes out the first he sees in the 7th. 1 away as Luke picks up his 2nd strikeout. And here's Justin Maldonado. As Maldonado, the number 3 hitter, takes high. 0 for 2 and has been hit by a pitch. And Kim pounding the strike zone, 1-1. Both teams started the day 2-0 in Big North American Division play. So obviously this is a key series for the two frontrunners. Ridgefield Park Pagoda defeated Dumont in both of their games so far against league competition. 2-1 inside, and that hits Justin Maldonado. So he's hit for the second time, and a one-out base runner for Andrew Garcia. Fort Lee's 2 league games against a rebuilding Dwight Morrow program, both were run rule affairs, 15-4 and 21-7. And Kim right back conventionally has a strike. Garcia reached on a hard hit ball, a single to the shortstop at the time, Luke Kim, to drive in the lone Ridgefield Park run. That's ball 2. Maldonado at first base. Fort Lee would likely give him second to allow Luke Kim just to focus right now on each batter. And this is ground ball to short. Could be 2. James Eno to second, 1. On to first. Late throw that Plout could not grab. And Garcia runs it out to beat it out. But Ridgefield Park down to their final out. James Eno came in last inning to play shortstop. And Stephen Kim, I think, had to reach a little bit for that toss with the runner bearing in on him. So here's Peyton Thompson. And Garcia aboard at first. And Luke Kim fires strike 1. This was a well-played game. The first 2 innings went by quickly between Jacob Greenberg and Andrew Garcia, both starting pitchers, number 1 pitchers on their respective staffs. But Fort Lee was able to come up with 4 runs on 3 hits in the 3rd inning, using the threat of the steal, a leadoff walk to Gabe Lasfell. That one play seemed to open up the floodgates, as Andrew Garcia was not able, I think, to find his location and his mechanics as good as he did in the first 2 innings. And then after leadoff walk to Lasfall, Bridgemen got hits from Stephen Kim, Luke Senator coming up with a bloop double to start the scoring 1-0. Jack Dorcom's terrific bunt back to the pitcher, who ended up as a fielder's choice on a suicide squeeze, will make it 2-0. As Thompson fouls it off, and Ridgefield Park down to the final strike. Then the next batter, Jacob Greenberg, sac fly RBI, 3-0. And then an infield single by Luke Kim on a tough play by Ryan Lewis would make it 4-0. And with the way Jacob Greenberg was pitching, looked like he would contain big innings. 2-2, in there for a call, strike 3. Fort Lee wins. They take the first game in this showdown with Ridgefield Park, 7-1 today at the Dr. Allen W. Sugarman Athletic Complex. Bridgemen victorious to remain unbeaten in Big North American Division play, now 3-0, pinning the first loss on Ridgefield Park, now 2-1. Fort Lee makes it back-to-back wins. They're 6-1 of the season. Ridgefield Park, Bogota drops to 5-3 overall. Final totals: a run on 4 hits and 1 error today for the Scarlet Bucks. 7 runs, 7 hits, and no errors for Fort Lee. That's going to make Coach Pete Kraljic really happy to come up with a clean game defensively. Luke Kim picks up the save, striking out 3. The victory for Jacob Greenberg, who goes 5 innings, giving up 1 run to lead the Bridgemen today. Stephen Kim, among the big days offensively, went 2 for 4 to pace Fort Lee in a game that would last 2 hours and 36 minutes. That's a final here from Fort Lee. 7-1 Bridgemen take care of Ridgefield Park. Two teams will meet up on Wednesday at Ridgefield Park for their next games. Until next time, my name is Ralph Bnorchik saying so long, and thank you to all of our great sponsors for helping make these broadcasts be possible here on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel. Fort Lee Education Association, it's Greek to Me Restaurant, Connect One Bank, Carola Barber Viola VFW Post, Rusindoro Electric, Bridgemen Basketball Camps, Senator Builders, UCS Strength and Speed, the Bergen Black Sox, Visions Federal Credit Union Bank, the Collective Salon, the Finest Construction, Cafaso's Fairway Market, Fort Lee Soccer Club, and William T. Birch Children's Fund. Thanks to all for making these broadcasts be possible live and on demand here on the Fort Lee Athletics channel. Thank you so much, and we'll talk to you next time here from Fort Lee.